What could possibly drive Chang Wook to confess a sudden marriage to Nam Ji Hyun? The shocking revelation has left fans speechless and the internet in chaos. Tonight, on Red Carpet Revealed, we dive deep into the truth behind this stunning confession. Stay with us, the story begins now. The evening was supposed to be ordinary. A casual press junket. A few promotional interviews. Perhaps a light-hearted story to keep fans entertained. Instead, it turned into the kind of night that will be etched forever in the memory of K-drama enthusiasts across the globe. When Chang Wook, darling of romantic dramas and one of Korea's most bankable stars, opened his mouth, the words that spilled out weren't about a new project, an endorsement, or even a heartfelt message to his fanbase. They were about a secret he had carried for years, an admission so bold, so vulnerable, that it sent shockwaves across the industry. "I can't hide it anymore," he said, his voice tight. Listening under the white glare of cameras. "I'm married to Nam Ji Hyun." For a brief moment, time seemed to freeze. Reporters blinked in disbelief. Pens suspended in midair. Fans watching the live stream dropped their phones. Comments exploding in a blur of capital letters and crying emojis. It was as if the line between fiction and reality, between the characters they once played in a beloved drama and the lives they lived off-screen, had suddenly dissolved in the most dramatic fashion imaginable. Followed in the minutes, hours, and days after that confession was nothing short of pandemonium. The news didn't just trend, it conquered every corner of the internet. Headlines screamed across portals, Chang Wook drops marriage bombshell. Nam Ji Hyun secretly wed. Fans betrayed or overjoyed. Social media was in chaos. Hashtags multiplying like wildfire. 1 second, Chang Wook confession dominated Twitter. The next, Ji couple forever and Nam Ji wedding stole the spotlight. The digital storm was relentless. Each retweet and repost adding fuel to an inferno of speculation. Inside fan cafes, longtime supporters typed with shaking hands. Some wrote heartfelt messages of congratulations, praising him for having the courage to finally live his truth. Others confessed heartbreak, admitting that their fantasy of the unattainable opera had shattered. "I feel like I just lost a boyfriend I never had." International fan posted. Another countered, "No, we didn't lose him. Finally know his heart." Meanwhile, entertainment insiders scrambled for answers. Managers ducked calls. Agencies issued vague statements. Leagues maintained silence, clearly blindsided by the revelation. In an industry where secrecy and image control reigned supreme, Chang Wook had detonated a bomb that no PR team could have anticipated. But perhaps the biggest twist was that this wasn't entirely out of the blue. For years, whispers had circulated in corners of the internet, in gossip columns, in hushed conversations among fans who swore they noticed something real in the way Chang Wook looked at Nam Ji Hyun during their drama-suspicious partner. Their chemistry had always been electric. Skeptics dismissed it as acting prowess. Now, in the glow of his confession, those old clips resurfaced with new meaning. "Look at the way he touched her hair in that scene," fans wrote. "That wasn't scripted." Rewind to the filming of that drama, behind-the-scenes footage revealed moments of laughter, stolen glances, and inside jokes. At the time, fans delighted in the Ji couple ship but chalked it up to clever marketing. Now, those same moments felt like pieces of a puzzle that had finally clicked into place. The confession also raised another chilling question: how long had they been married? And why keep it a secret? Here the narrative turned even darker. Some insiders hinted at contractual clauses, suggesting that revealing a marriage during peak popularity could have jeopardized multi-million-dollar endorsements. Others whispered about pressure from agencies. The fear that female fans, who make up the bulk of Chang Wook's massive following, would abandon him if they knew he was no longer available. In the hours following his admission, speculation gave way to conspiracy theories. Some claimed paparazzi had been on the verge of leaking photos of a private ceremony, and that Chang Wook's confession was an attempt to control the narrative before scandal consumed him. Others swore they remembered Nam Ji Hyun wearing what looked like a wedding band in a fan photo taken months earlier, though at the time it was dismissed as a fashion accessory. Through it all, Chang Wook remained silent after his bombshell words, retreating from the flashing cameras with a bowed head, leaving reporters shouting questions into the void. Nam Ji Hyun, meanwhile, was nowhere to be seen. Her social media accounts went dark. Her last post suddenly flooded with tens of thousands of comments ranging from congratulatory messages to pleas for clarification. The silence from Nam Ji Hyun only heightened the drama. Fans dissected her past interviews, rewatching videos with forensic precision. In one clip from a year ago, when asked if she was dating anyone, she smiled faintly and answered, "There are things I want to protect." At the time, the remark went unnoticed. Now, it was replayed endlessly, interpreted as a veiled hint at her hidden marriage. As the confession settled into the bloodstream of public consciousness, the entertainment industry scrambled to respond. Advertisers reportedly held emergency meetings. Could Chang Wook still be the face of romantic products if he was a married man? Would fans feel betrayed enough to boycott brands tied to him? Some companies pulled promotional material, others doubled down, betting that the scandal would eventually transform into a love story celebrated by the masses. Television producers fretted as well. Ratings gold though he was, could a newly married Chang Wook convincingly play a bachelor heartthrob? Or would audiences see every romantic kiss on screen as a betrayal of Nam Ji Hyun? The tension was palpable. His confession had not only disrupted his own life, but had also sent shockwaves rippling through the economic ecosystem built around his image. But the most haunting aspect of the confession was the emotional weight it carried. Watching the footage closely, it was clear that Chang Wook was not a man staging a publicity stunt. His shoulders trembled as he spoke. His lips quivered. There was both fear and relief in his eyes, the fear of losing everything, the relief of finally telling the truth. It was this vulnerability that silenced many of his harshest critics. Even those who felt betrayed admitted they saw a man speaking not as a star, but as a human being. And perhaps that was the most shocking part of all. In a world where celebrities are packaged as untouchable fantasies, Chang Wook had ripped off the mask and revealed something raw, messy, and painfully real. Still, questions lingered, gnawing at the edges of the story like shadows. How long had they been married? Where had the ceremony taken place? Why confess now? And most of all, what hidden truths lay behind the so-called dream wedding that fans never knew existed? The answers, when they began to surface, would only deepen the drama. Silence after Chang Wook's shocking confession was almost unbearable. Days passed, and speculation reached fever pitch. Every corner of the internet seemed to pulse with a single question: what really happened? Then, in the quiet of an early morning, grainy photograph surfaced. It was nothing extraordinary at first glance, just a group of people gathered at what looked like a countryside villa. But there, in the middle of the blurred shot, stood two unmistakable figures, Chang Wook in a simple black suit, and beside him, Nam Ji Hyun. Dressed not in the elaborate gowns fans might have imagined but in a soft white dress, her hair flowing naturally. No tiaras, no grand stage, no hundreds of flashing cameras. Just intimacy. The internet erupted again. Is their wedding? Had the so-called dream ceremony been hiding in plain sight, shielded by simplicity and secrecy? As more details trickled out, truth became clearer, and in some ways, more shocking. The wedding had indeed happened months ago, far from the bustling streets of Seoul, in a private villa on Jeju Island. No celebrity guests, no corporate sponsors, no luxury brand partnerships. Instead, it was said to have been attended only by close family and a few childhood friends. The ceremony was whispered to be filled with handwritten vows, soft candlelight, and even a guitar serenade performed by Chang Wook himself. For fans, this revelation was bittersweet. On the one hand, it painted a picture of sincerity, love story untainted by showbiz spectacle. On the other, it was devastating to realize that such a monumental moment in their idol's life had been kept hidden for so long. Secrecy raised another round of questions. Why had they chosen to shield their love so fiercely? Theories abounded. Some pointed to the suffocating expectations of the entertainment industry, where stars are often forbidden from dating publicly, marrying. Others whispered about contractual obligations with production companies and advertisers, deals worth millions that hinged on maintaining the illusion of bachelorhood. Still others believed something darker lurked beneath the secrecy, that Chang Wook and Nam Ji Hyun had faced immense opposition, perhaps even threats. Powerful industry figures who feared the fallout of such a revelation. The narrative took on a life of its own. Theory more sensational than the last. And then, at long last, Nam Ji Hyun broke her silence. Carefully crafted Instagram post. She uploaded a photo of a sunset over the ocean. The caption was short, but it carried a weight of emotion. Are things worth protecting? For us, love was one of them. I hope you can understand. Struck like lightning. Within minutes, post had millions of likes, and the comments section became a battlefield of emotion. Fans poured out messages of support. We always knew your love was real. Others expressed confusion, heartbreak, even anger. Why didn't you trust us with the truth? But the most repeated sentiment was simple: congratulations. In that moment, the story shifted. No longer was it just a tale of secrecy and betrayal. It was a narrative of resilience, of two people carving out a private sanctuary in an industry that devours intimacy. Still, the revelations were not over. After Ji Hyun's post, an anonymous insider leaked what they called the real reason behind Chang Wook's sudden confession. According to them, paparazzi had been closing in, ready to release a series of photographs that would have exposed the marriage in the most sensational and invasive way possible. By confessing himself, Chang Wook had seized control of the story, choosing truth over scandal. This revelation turned the tide once again. What had first been interpreted as a reckless confession now seemed like an act of courage, even sacrifice. He had risked his career, his endorsements, and his carefully curated public image in order to protect his wife from humiliation. The industry, however, was still reeling. Some advertisers quietly backed away, wary of fan backlash. Major drama production reportedly rewrote parts of its script, worried that audiences would not accept Chang Wook as a romantic lead. Yet others leaned into the scandal, betting that the couple's newfound authenticity would attract even greater viewership. Indeed, ratings for reruns of Suspicious Partner spiked. Viewers eager to rewatch every glance, every touch, searching for hidden truths in what had once seemed light fiction. Fans, too, transformed. Any who had initially felt betrayed began to rally behind the couple, organizing hashtag campaigns of support, creating artwork celebrating their love story, and even sending gifts addressed not to Chang Wook or Ji Hyun alone, but to the Jijit couple. In the weeks that followed, something remarkable happened. The confession that had first seemed like the end of an era began to look like the beginning of something new. Chang Wook and Ji Hyun had not only survived the scandal, they had rewritten the narrative of what it meant to love openly in an industry built on secrecy. The dream wedding, once hidden, now became the symbol of their defiance. Fans who once demanded spectacle began to embrace the simplicity of it, the villa, the handwritten vows, absence of glitz. It was, many realized, the most authentic expression of love in a world where so much is staged. Yet even as the storm calmed, questions lingered in the shadows. What would this mean for their future careers? Could Chang Wook still play the heartthrob roles that defined his fame? Ji Hyun be able to step back into the spotlight without being overshadowed by her new identity as his wife? These uncertainties kept the tension alive, reminding everyone that the story was far from over. And so, the confession that shocked the world continued to echo, not just as a scandal, but as a love story, a cautionary tale. Perhaps even a turning point for the entire Korean entertainment industry. Because at the heart of it all, beyond the headlines and the hashtags, was a simple truth. Chang Wook and Ji Hyun had chosen each other, even when the world wasn't ready for it. And in that choice lay the real shock, the revelation that love, no matter how hidden, will always find its way to the surface. Confession and the revelation of a secret wedding might have stunned the world. But what followed was an even more dramatic chapter in the saga of Chang Wook and Ji Hyun. If part 1 was the explosion and part 2 the unveiling of hidden truths, then part 3 was the fallout, the messy, predictable storm that no one could have anticipated. The tide seemed to be turning in their favor. Supporters rallied online, proclaiming their love story as one of courage. Hashtags like True Love Wins and Jijit Forever began to trend. Fan art flooded social media, depicting the couple as modern-day Romeo and Juliet, who dared to defy an unforgiving industry. For a brief moment, it seemed as though love had conquered scandal. But beneath that wave of positivity lurked something darker. On certain corners of the internet, resentment began to fester. Poor fans who had once sworn eternal loyalty felt betrayed. Their illusion shattered. They weren't just upset, they were enraged. Forums brimmed with accusations: he lied to us for years. She stole him from his fans. Some even claimed they had wasted money on merchandise and concerts under false pretenses. As if Ji Chang Wook's love life invalidated the art that had once moved them. The vitriol grew so intense that security teams were reportedly dispatched to protect both Ji Chang Wook and Nam Ji Hyun from potential threats. Anonymous accounts sent chilling messages, "You'll regret this, paparazzi." Emboldened by the frenzy. Their every move. Hoping to capture the next viral shot. Ji Chang Wook, the professional consequences came swiftly. A lucrative brand partnership quietly dissolved. Strategic realignment. A drama producer expressed concern that his marriage status would affect audience immersion in a romantic role. Rumors swirled that certain investors wanted to back out of projects attached to his name. The industry, always quick to pivot, seemed uncertain whether to embrace him as a symbol of authenticity or to discard him as damaged goods. Nam Ji Hyun, too, found herself under siege. While some hailed her as the woman who won Ji Chang Wook's heart, others attacked her relentlessly. Her manipulative or accusing her of derailing his career. Tabloid headlines grew crueler by the day. Is Nam Ji Hyun the reason Ji Chang Wook risked it all? The actress behind the scandal. She withdrew from public appearances. Silence once again weaponized as evidence of guilt by her detractors. And yet, amid the chaos, people held firm. When Ji Chang Wook finally reappeared at a fan meeting, tension in the air was palpable. Would fans boo him? Would empty seats reveal a shattered fan base? Instead, the venue was packed. He walked on stage. Tears welled in his eyes. "Many of you are hurt," he said softly, voice cracking. "But please believe me when I say that my love for acting, for music, and for you has never changed. I only ask for your understanding, as a man, as a human being, as someone who also needs love." Crowd erupted. Some cried, others cheered. A few sat silently with conflicted expressions. It was a raw moment that blurred the line between star and fan. Between scandal and sincerity. Still, the storm wasn't over. Every move they made was scrutinized. A dinner outing became headline news. A missed public appearance sparked rumors of trouble in paradise. The once private love story had been transformed into a gladiator arena where every smile, every silence, every step was dissected for meaning. Yet, within that suffocating spotlight, something remarkable began to happen. The narrative started to shift. Not because the scandal faded. Because the couple refused to break. Together. They became a living defiance of the industry's unwritten rules. Instead of hiding, they appeared together at a charity event. Holding hands openly. Cameras flashed, reporters shouted. Fans screamed, but they didn't flinch. It was as if Ji Chang Wook and Nam Ji Hyun were telling the world, "We will not apologize for love." The scandal that had threatened to destroy them was evolving into revolution. A cultural shift challenging the archaic notion that stars must remain single, forever frozen in fantasies crafted for fans. Their courage sparked conversations far beyond entertainment, about privacy, authenticity, and the price of fame. But make no mistake, the risk remained enormous. Every day was a balancing act on a knife's edge. Would history punish them? Would fans eventually forgive or forget? Would the fairy tale love story end in triumph or tragedy? The answer, as always, in the next chapter, a chapter the world waited for with bated breath. Because if part 1 was the confession, and part 2 the revelation, then part 3 was the cliffhanger, a nation divided, people under fire, and a love story standing tall against the fiercest storm of all. As the weeks turned into months, the whirlwind around Ji Chang Wook and Nam Ji Hyun's shocking marriage confession refused to fade. Instead, it morphed into something larger than a scandal. Larger even than a love story, it became a cultural reckoning. Television debates dissected every angle, the ethics of celebrity privacy, the responsibilities of stars to their fans, toxic expectations of the entertainment industry. Newspapers that once thrived on sensational headlines began to ask deeper questions. Could this moment change the way Korea viewed its idols? Ji Chang Wook's confession sparked a new era where stars were allowed to be both human and hero? But even as intellectuals and journalists debated, the couple continued to live under suffocating scrutiny. Every time Ji Chang Wook stepped onto a stage, reporters trailed him. Was he still the same leading man? Could audiences believe in his romantic portrayals now that his real-life love story was exposed? The answer came one unforgettable night. Ji Chang Wook headlined a special concert, his first major performance since the confession. The stakes were monumental. Fans, critics, industry giants all filled the arena, waiting to see whether he would stumble or soar. It dimmed. A hush fell. Then, a single spotlight illuminated Chang Wook. No flashy costumes. No elaborate set. Just him. Microphone, and a piano. He began to sing, not a chart-topping hit. Not a fan service anthem. But a song he had written himself. The lyrics told of secrecy and fear. Hidden love that had weighed heavy on his heart. And of the liberation that came with finally embracing the truth. His voice cracked at points, trembling with raw honesty. But that imperfection made it all the more powerful. The final chorus, tears streaked down his face. He raised his head, looked directly into the crowd, and said only 3 words. "This is me." The arena erupted. Fans stood, screaming, crying, cheering. Some held banners that read "We love you no matter what." Others clasped their hands over their mouths in shock at the vulnerability before them. In that moment, the line between star and human dissolved completely. Chang Wook wasn't just an actor or a singer, he was a man laying his soul bare before the world. And then, in a twist worthy of a K-drama, Ji Hyun appeared. She walked quietly onto the stage, her presence greeted by a deafening roar. Without words, she took his hand. Together. To the audience, a simple gesture that spoke louder than any press release or interview ever could. The image of them standing side by side, hands intertwined, became an instant icon. Newspapers splashed it across front pages. Social media declared it a moment love conquered fear. Even critics softened, acknowledging the courage it took to face the storm together. From that night onward, the narrative shifted. No longer were they framed as deceivers hiding a forbidden truth. They became pioneers, trailblazers who challenged outdated norms and paid the price for honesty. Their careers, once in jeopardy, began to rebound, slowly at first, then with undeniable momentum. Producers who had shied away now clamored to work with them. Advertisers who had pulled contracts returned with apologies and bigger offers. But perhaps the most profound change was in the fans themselves. Many confessed that they had grown, too. Realized their idols were not dolls trapped in glass cases but living, breathing humans with a right to love. The scandal had shattered illusions, yes, but in its place it had built something more enduring: respect. Chang Wook's shocking confession, once seen as career suicide, had transformed into the most defining moment of his life. It was no longer just a revelation of marriage, it was a declaration of humanity, of vulnerability, of love unashamed. And as the dust settled, one truth remained unshakable. The world had been stunned, yes, but it had also been changed. What began as a shocking confession became an earthquake that shook not only the lives of Chang Wook and Ji Hyun, but also the very foundations of an industry. Secrecy to revelation. From chaos to catharsis. Their journey was a drama more compelling than any script. Perhaps that is why fans will remember this moment not with anger or betrayal, but with awe. Because in a world built on illusions, Chang Wook dared to tell the truth. Thank you, dear readers and viewers, for staying with us until the end of this story. On Red Carpet Revealed, we will continue to bring you the tales that shock, inspire the world. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your support means everything.